And good evening, or welcome to another episode of Warriors of Attraction. I'm joined by the amazing Christine Malek, all the way from, I'm just going to say America.
That's where I'm at.
Big place. Welcome Stephen Smith from Sarasota, Florida. Hope you are well. Please share this, everyone, to bring that awareness. And yes, we are connected to your page as well, Christine, just like you know.
Okay, good.
So tonight we're going to be discussing our experience, sharing our experience from when we was shitty, ready to give up, can't be bothered, probably wanted to commit suicide, to how we manifested and transformed our life. So
I think I might know a few things about that.
I was just about to say, how about we share your experience, ladies first?
Oh, goodness gracious, where do I start? Yes,
The beginning.
I have attempted suicide at least a half a dozen times in my life because of all those mental health issues I went through, from abuse, abusive husband, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. It was a lot, from childhood traumas. I mean, if you could think it, I probably endured it. Yeah. How did I get it? Everybody asks me all the time, well, how did you? I don't know. There wasn't any one truly defining moment. I think for me, it was a lot of little moments that culminated on the path to the transformation. Although I will tell you, being shot in the back of the head definitely kind of opens your eyes.
Yeah. How about we discuss that? Because it was very recently you told me about that.
Okay. So it was my second marriage, and because of the abuse that I endured, the only way that I could find relief from that pain, not just the physical pain, the emotional, the spiritual, the psychological abuse, I mean, everything, the verbal abuse, the sexual abuse, was to numb it with alcohol. So something triggered me, and I ended up in the bathroom sitting on the toilet backwards, like, leaning over the tank of the toilet. And you just know in that relationship that you don't cry, which is why I left the room, because, why are you crying? You have no reason to cry. So I left the room, went into the bathroom, and tried to not cry. For whatever reason, I closed and locked the door to the bedroom, going to the bathroom. That was a mistake. He's yelling, screaming, why are you crying? What are you crying for? Stop it, all the cuss words possible. And I could hear and slamming doors. Slamming doors is a huge trigger that for the most part I've gotten over, but it still can be a little triggering. So he's slamming doors. He goes out to the garage, slams the door, opens the door, comes back, slams the garage door again, and proceeded to bust down the bedroom door with a sledgehammer. As I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm going, oh, please don't let him use the sledgehammer. Please don't let him use the sledgehammer. So he proceeds to go to the nightstand, drop the sledgehammer, goes to the nightstand, and pulls out a .40 caliber handgun, which was mine, which was bought for me by one of my children as a Mother's Day gift. As I'm sitting on the toilet backwards, now he's 6 foot, and he has the gun pointed at the back of my head, and we're exchanging a lot of cuss words. And I know because we're on Facebook, I don't know if I could say all the cuss words that we said back and forth to each other. But at that point, I wanted nothing more than to just die. Just get it over and done with. Get me out of this life. It's been miserable. It's been, disgusting. It's been every abuse that you can think of, and then some I have endured from this man. I just wanted my life over. There was no reason for me to live anymore. And I was begging him to please pull the trigger, taunting him, that you don't have balls big enough to pull the trigger. You're this and you're that. That I can't cuss, and that's obviously all the cuss words were coming out. And with that, he pulled the trigger. And in that moment, Adam, when you go deaf, there is nothing. There's no feeling. There's no emotion. It's complete void, completely void of everything. And I could hear the ringing in my ears. I could smell the burnt flesh. I could smell the singed hair. And I had two thoughts. One was, oh my God, I'm alive. Now, those aren't the words that I said, as in I'm, incredulous and grateful that I'm alive a little bit. And the second was, I'm alive, with disgust, because I didn't want to be. I really didn't want to be. And at that point, I didn't know which way to turn. And I looked up and I could see the huge quarter-size hole in the wall in front of me. What happened? I have no idea. That's one of the things that I get asked is how did he miss? Did he really? I mean, for the longest time I had really long hair back then, and I had to try and cover this really big, huge bald spot with my hair. And of course, I get smacked upside the head with the butt of the gun, saying, look at what you made me do. But it was the next morning when I looked in the mirror and I looked at that woman looking back and I went, I don't know who she is. I don't know who that woman is anymore. And I knew something had to change. Something shifted. Something snapped inside of me, and I just knew something had to change. Something had to give. And it was from that moment on. I didn't know how. I knew I needed to live, and I knew I needed to survive, and I knew I needed to get through however long it took. As it turns out, it was an additional 5 years. 2 years. I'm sorry, 3 years. 3 years. 3 years, because I then ended up in the hospital for 2016 and 17, in and out. The alcoholism definitely took its toll on my body. But 3 years that I still endured abuse from him. I mean, even while I was in the hospital, even when I came home with 4 surgeries, 15 procedures, from being in the hospital and all the alcoholism and everything else that was going on in my body, it was my gift that I didn't know was a gift. And what you don't know yet is that throughout all this time, my whole life, I have pretty much said, through all the attempted suicides, and of course with this man, I had said I looked up to a God that I didn't believe in anymore. I was raised Catholic, and I looked up and I said, either put me in the ground or put me in the hospital. My angels put me in the hospital. But I didn't know this till after I had gone through and relived and learned from that past. Because, once you're in it, you're in the thick of it. You can't think straight. You just want to survive. You just want to get through day by day. Yeah. But once I started my transformation and started the healing, I went, oh, this is why this happened. This is why this happened. That next day when I looked in the mirror and saw a woman I didn't recognize was the start of my transformation. And even that took 5 years till I could finally say, I think I'm healed. I think I'm healed. Now I can just state this stuff as facts. They're not, they're not my story anymore. They're just facts. There are things that have happened to me, things that I have learned from it, things that I've taken to be able to help other, not just women, but now I'm currently getting involved with men that are going through abuse, to take everything I've learned and to help them as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
That usually is the followed by two questions. One is, did you seek medical attention? That's one of the biggest questions that I get. And two is, was he arrested? And to answer both of them with one word, it would simply be no. No, because it would just mean more abuse. For whatever reason, you can't go to the hospital. You can't tell, the world what this man did, because he not only was he an abuser, but he's extremely narcissistic. So what he presented to the outside world was that he was perfect, that he was great, but it's what went on behind closed doors.
I wasn't going to ask those questions. I wasn't. The only question I was going to ask is how, and I'm going to be very blunt with people, and if this is triggering people,
Good.
I apologize, because at the end of the day, our intentions ain't to trigger anyone, is to get stories out there. And all I want to know is, how the fuck do you cope on bonfire night?
How do I what?
How the hell do you cope on bonfire night with all these fireworks going off and everything like that?
But different experience. Just it's when you're there sitting on the toilet and you're faced with death, truly faced with death.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's something that we don't actually talk about. We don't talk about, you and I have talked about this before, we don't talk about the suicide enough. Okay, so when you're actually in it, and it's a very dark, very hellish moment.
Well, it is hell.
It is hell, without a doubt.
Mm.
In fact, I'm just about finished writing my book, and that's what it will be called, is Dancing with the Devil, because that's what my life was
I
dancing
need that
with
coffee.
the devil. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, it's completely different than if you're out with friends and family for fireworks. It's fun. It's exciting. It's like it's completely different scenarios.
It is. It's definitely because I've seen it taken into account animals.
But I could understand why you would ask that, because if you're not healed and you're not aware of what you went through and what you endured, then yes, those would definitely be triggering moments. Okay, but when you've healed and you've gone through your transformation and you've come out of the trenches and trunches of hell and climbed out, it's a different perspective that you look at with life, friends, family, everything.
So my next one is, we mentioned that attempting suicide, which obviously I've done in previously as well, is hell. What does your hell look like?
Okay, so here's another part of me that you may not be aware of. I am very spiritual. I'm also blessed with 7 of the 8 clairs. Okay, meaning I'm clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairaudient, clairsentient. The only one I don't have is the one for taste, that I can taste spirits. Okay, but I can smell fires when there's absolutely no fires burning. I have my spiritual team that's with me all the time. This one particular time, I went into a trance-like state, and I know this is going to sound totally weird, but I was somewhat transported to, in my conscious and subconscious state, I was transported to this young man, probably in his 20s or 30s, that was just hit tragically by a car on his bicycle in a huge city. He was in a pit in the ground. Now, out of the corner of my eye, I could see his body, his actual body. Paramedics are already there. They're working on him. They're trying to bring him back to life. His body's crumpled. Okay. I mean, he's got broken legs, arms. He's got internal, the outcome is bleak. Okay. But they're working on him. His physical or his spiritual body is in a pit, and he is holding on to the sidewalk, which is now brick. Okay. And I could see it as if, and this happened a few years ago, and I can see it as if it's, I mean, like it's happening now. Okay, that's how vivid this was. And he's hanging on and he's looking at me, and I'm leaned over and I'm talking to him. I'm holding and grasping his arms. Okay. And he is looking at me and he's, you know, somewhat confessing his sins. And I'm like, I'm not a priest, you know, but hang on, buddy, because they're working on your body. You know, you got to stay with me, that kind of thing. His perception of hell was the typical, and I know this because I was raised Catholic, that typical fire, brimstone, you know, cold, dark, but hot, you know, place of hell. That was his perception of hell. My point being that everyone's perception of hell is completely different. To answer your question, I lived hell. So anything, you know, after being shot in the head, beat with a rubber mallet, choked in and out of consciousness, beaten and having black eyes. You know, not only was he a narcissist, my first husband was, my father is a narcissist. You know, I found out early in my 30s that I was molested by a family member. I was raped by my uncle when I was like 11 or 12 years old. I'd been gang banged, gang raped, abducted 3 times, held against my will for 4 or 5 days. That's hell. To me, that was hell. That's my perception of hell. But everybody's hell is different. Everybody has their own idea of what, and a lot of it's based on your background, your upbringing, your religion, you know, what you read, what you see on TV, you know.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, with us going through addiction, which obviously clearly all this trauma is connected to the addiction.
Yes.
Exactly. So when did you actually think, whether it was drink or whatever, think, I'm better than this and I want to grow from this?
Well, you know, addictions take many forms.
It's life.
Yes.
If you do the 12 steps.
Right. Yes. When did I first realize that I'm better than the addictions? I think I've always known that.
Okay.
I think I've always had. Why else would I fight? Okay. Why else would I survive everything that I have survived? Because I've always had a feeling that that righteous right and wrong, not in a negative connotation, but that the world can be a better place for all of us. And I think I've always known that. I think it wasn't until I did my 12 steps that I realized, oh, this can be taken care of. This can be done. Now you got to remember, I've gone through AA several times. Back in the 80s, I was addicted to cocaine, so I beat that addiction. You know, this was in the mid 2000, from 2011 till 2018 with the second husband. And not only did I beat the addiction to alcohol, of course, my surgeon, when I went in for the first surgery, and actually the second surgery, and I came out of that one, that's where they removed my gallbladder, my appendix, part of my intestine, part of my colon, and my whole left fallopian tube. My surgeon, the only words he ever spoke to me, okay, never once did he say, oh, the surgery is great. None of that, okay. The only words my surgeon spoke to me were, Christine, if you take another drink, you will die. And I went, that's a theory I don't want to test. I don't want to test that theory. So, you know, we all have, I think, those defining moments. You know, in AA that they say that you have to hit rock bottom before you, and everybody's rock bottom is different. Everybody's it's different. It's different. My rock bottom was dying on the operating table twice, you know, and finally being faced with and forced to acknowledge, okay, Christine, you asked to be either put in the ground or in the hospital. You're in the hospital. What are you going to do with this life we have now given you? again.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of my rock bottoms was drinking a bottle of vodka, straight out of the bottle, chest tightening up, ignored it for a couple of hours, ended up in the hospital overnight on the drip, and they basically said to me, because obviously they put me on that nil by mouth where I couldn't eat or drink or nothing, and they basically said to me, "You need an operation." What did I do instead? Discharge myself and bought more alcohol. That's rock bottom.
It
That's
takes
mad.
control. Yeah, it takes control. That drug of choice takes control. It
Yeah.
will control every ounce of your body and being. You are no longer in control of your thoughts, of your body, your feelings, your emotions, because all you care about is to get that drug of choice into
Yes.
your brain. I've had the addiction to cocaine, I've had the addiction to alcohol, and I've had the addiction to pain pills because of being in the hospital. And I found myself going, what are you doing? You know you have that addictive nature. Why are you? Sorry, that's Garibaldi. He's always got to get in on camera.
And you said it with the kids.
Right, right. But yeah, that we don't control our anything anymore
No.
from those drug of choice. It takes it's like a living being inside you, an alien inside of you, controlling. I mean, we are puppets controlled by that drug of choice.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about resentment because trauma, addiction, it brings a lot of resentment to
Yeah.
ourselves, to other people. What have you done to tackle your resentment towards yourself, to all them abusers? What?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question.
And to tackle your fear as well.
Yes. Let me tell you a little story. So when I first started telling my story about, being shot in the head and the abuse I endured and everything else, one of the things that, I was actually asked that question, do you regret anything that happened to you? And I said, absolutely not. Without a conviction, absolutely not, because I would not be where I am in my life today if I didn't experience everything I went through. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she asked me, well, how do you feel about when I first started doing interviewing on podcasts? And she said, well, how do you feel about your ex? I said, that's funny that, and this was early in my healing. I said, that's funny. I said, because if he showed up at my door, I would probably knee jerk reaction, just punch him in the chin. Okay. And I said, but here's the thing, with where I'm at in my recovery and my healing process, I would extend my hand and say, can I, help you up? And then say, what are you doing here? How can I help you? What do you need? What do you want? Because I don't want to become the person he is.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I listened to myself. I re-listened to that and I went through more healing and I went, I'm an advocate for women and men against abuse. And here I am talking about actually hitting the man that did all this abuse to me. What a hypocrite I am.
Yeah.
Right? So I thought about that and I learned from it that I don't want to be like him. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I want to heal the world. I want everyone to know that it's possible. I want children to never be raised in that environment.
Yeah.
I want them to not know what abuse and domestic violence is. I want them to know that if there's a problem, that there's help somewhere, okay? Not to turn to drugs and alcohol. And it starts with us as individuals. And if it's not us, then find somebody that can help you. That's why I do what I do, Adam. Okay.
Right.
So if he showed up at my door today, I would probably, hello? How are you? How have you been? Heard you got arrested 3 times for the same shit, because he has. He's been arrested 3 more times for assault on a female. What are you doing here? I probably can't help you, but how's it going? I would be everything he wasn't.
Yeah.
Everything he isn't. I would want to show him that for my own self, not for him, but for my own self, that I can be bigger, not bitter. So, did I have regrets? Absolutely. Some, absolutely. So, with living this with this man, I didn't know my mom got sick. I lost family, friends. My mom passed away while I was with this man, and I never attended her funeral. Did I have regrets about that? Absolutely. Do I still have those regrets? No, because I have spoken with my mom. I've gotten right with my mom. I've let her know, and she lets me know that it's okay, that she's still there. I have cardinals that show up, and I just know that they're her, looking out for me, making sure that I'm okay. So you have to to answer your question, find the way, find what works. And if you don't find it, keep looking. Keep talking to people like you and I that have been through it. Don't, not that I should tell anybody what to do, but if it's not working, find a solution. It's out there. We all have it. We have access, especially now with the World Wide Web. I mean, you're in the UK, I'm in Tennessee, in the States, we can talk to people all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, because you mentioned the word regret. Now, you said that you have regrets. I had regrets as well until I watched the video that I'm actually going to share with you in a minute now. It's from Anthony Hopkins. It's called Regrets. I don't know if you've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I'll do is, how do I do this? All right, here we go. Share screen. I'm just gonna get this.
There we go.
Regrets.
No, don't have time to regret. We move on because we are acceptable for what we are, not what we think we should be. I'm accepted in myself by what I am, but not as I be, because that's a lie. I'm a sinner. I'm an old sinner. I've done some bad things. I've done some good things. So, you just forgive yourself and move on.
It's true.
It is.
Forgive yourself and move on. And I think that's what it is, that it's a matter of forgiving ourselves.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, because my view on it is, if you have regrets, yeah, I admit we make mistakes, we fuck up. And some of the time, our fucking up can be a good thing, because it teaches us a lesson.
Yes.
But my view on it, and they go, and my view is, if you're constantly living with those regrets, that you've got those regrets, then you're living in that adversity world, and you're not learning that self-resilience, that self-acceptance. So that's why I don't have any regrets.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah. And Kerry obviously said, "Oh, what a cute cat."
I'm telling you, he has to always be on camera every time. And now I got a little one. My grandson is about to make appearance because he's pretty about. Say hi. Say hi.
Hiya.
Say hi.
Oh.
He can't hear, but he's here. We kiss. Thank you, baby. I love you. All right, go, Mom.
So yeah, All right, so the next one from all
On the next one, yes.
yeah. So from all the regrets you have, from all
Uh-huh.
the trauma you experience, all the suicide attempts, the addiction, all that. What lesson have you learned towards
Ooh.
yourself?
You know, that's interesting. I've actually learned 10 with a bonus. I actually created an ebook on it of all the life lessons that I've learned through all that. The biggest lesson that I can tell you from there is, you know, okay, so there's a couple, and you said it, okay? Love yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Forgive yourself. But the biggest one is love. Just love. So one of the experiences that I had was I thought it was God. So when I cold turkeyed myself off of the tramadol and morphine and, you know, all the pain pills that are out there. Okay, one morning I was laying on the couch because I had gone through my third before my last surgery, and I'm laying on the couch and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm actually watching the clock. Going, okay, when can I take my next pain pill? When can I take the next pain pill? And it was 10 o'clock in the morning, and he wasn't around. He had left to go for work. I mean, we were still married at this point. And I realized, Christine, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're watching time to be able to take a pain pill. And I decided when the clock hit 10 o'clock, which would have been my next 10:30, whatever it was, would have been my next 4 hours kind of thing, that I wasn't going to take it. So dealing with the pain, because I still had pain, I had what's not a colostomy bag, but the other one, an ileostomy bag, which is basically for the intestines. Because remember, they removed part of my intestine. I was in a lot of pain. Like I said, there was a lot of pain. Some of it was probably psychological, but a lot of it was physical. And I remember laying in bed one night, no longer drinking, no more drugs, and you know, a few weeks had passed, and I happened to be in excruciating pain. Like from every fiber of my being, I was in pain. And I had the most beautiful, angelic experience of my life. I thought was God, actually come in and with wings wrapped around my body, took away every ounce of pain I had, lifted me off the bed, and whispered in my left ear, "Everything will be okay, Christine." Now I realized after the fact, you know, weeks after the fact, that it was my archangel Michael that sits on this shoulder and Gabriel sits on this one. But that's when I felt, when I was in his wings and in his arms, that is when I felt God's true love for every single human being on this planet. And that's when I realized that that love can conquer everything. That love can conquer everything. And if we could all feel that love and give that love, the world would be so different. So different.
But if we're all positive towards each other constantly, get me off this world. Get me off this world. Because I know that I'm after peace and happiness and stuff like that. I really am. But we need that little bit of negativity in our life, don't we? Not too much of it, but just that little bit, just to help us function.
I'm gonna wait for the dogs to stop barking.
I didn't get any of that, but okay.
I'm gonna wait for the dogs to stop barking, and I'm
Yeah.
was so
But it does love conquers all. But it's not just love conquers all, it's acceptance and accountability.
Yes. Let me
Absolutely.
let me somewhat disagree with you as far as the negativity, okay? Because there really is no negative in the world. Yesterday, my granddaughter and I were sitting outside and it actually started to drizzle. And she's 3.5 and she loves singing and she's sitting on my lap and she's singing, rain, rain, go away, come again another day. It's a typical song that the kids grow up with.
Yeah.
I know I sang it, you probably sang it. So I said to her, Nora, we need the rain. It waters the plants, it waters the trees. What if we look at the rain, with blessings and gratefulness? And, we just talked. I said, we need the rain. And if you look up, the clouds aren't that bad. There's only a couple. It's not raining that hard. It's just a heavy drizzle. So that little bit of, my point being, the little bit of rain that fell gave us an opportunity to talk, have a conversation, change her perspective. Okay. Instead of wanting to run inside and get out of the rain, we just sat there and let it drip on us. Okay. We were under a couple of big trees, so we weren't getting a lot of it. And of course, her brother, my grandson, is just running around. He could care less. He don't care either way. He's outside. He loves it, But what if it's not negative? What if it is just a little bit to give us a taste of kind of like sweet and sour? We love the sweet, but we got to know what sour tastes like to appreciate the sweet. Or vice versa, depending on what your taste buds are.
Absolutely. No, what I mean is when it comes to negativity is we can't have too many negatives in our life. Like if people are constantly being negative, if they're around us or even towards us, they clearly don't value us. So that's why we need to get rid of them, whether it's family or not.
Yes.
And my point in that is I haven't spoken to my mum in 6 years because of the abuse she put me through. And obviously I saw her a few months ago, 2-3 months ago, and she obviously said hi to me. And obviously I had headphones in and I literally just came back from the call. And obviously, which obviously got that adjourned, but that's a different conversation. And she said, "How are you?" And I went, "I'm fine." And she came to hug me, and I slightly just gently pushed her away. I pushed her away, and that's my resentment towards her. But now, when I get to step 9, because I'm redoing the steps over again, because obviously I relapsed, I'm actually going to reach out to her. Now, I've already texted the sponsor what exactly I'm going to say to her. But I believe, and obviously for people that want to understand the mind of an alcoholic, which obviously we both are, which we always will be when we're drinking, is the biggest cause for a relapse is resentment. And that's why we need to get rid of this resentment.
Yes.
And that's what I'm working on.
Good for you.
But
Yes.
obviously I'm only going to get in touch with her for closure.
Yes. Well, that's the same. Yes. And the same with my ex. I mean, I could, and I did. In the beginning, I had a ton of resentment against him. Okay, you shot me in the head, dude. You choked me so bad I passed out. You beat me with a rubber mallet so bad you broke my wrist and cracked my ribs. You had bruises on my eyes all the time. You left bruises all over my body. You scarred me. I mean, yes, I could have had a ton of, and I did, a ton of resentment to him.
Yeah.
But it's like that saying that, that, how does it go? That if there's 2 cups of poison and I drink one, I'm hoping that you die from the cup of poison I drank. If I have the resentment, he doesn't know I have this resentment. He could care less. He's living his life free and, living off some other one. He has no idea of what I feel. So why would I let that bother me? Why would I want to live in that resentment if it's not even doing anything to him? It's only harming me. So
absolutely, yeah.
You got to get rid of the resentment. Absolutely.
Oh, you have to.
It's another drug that will feed in you if you don't.
Yeah, and that's why I've started meditating. And this is why when it was raining, you should have got the grandkids to meditate. Easy said than done, like.
They do in their way. The littlest one, he's very determined to be with grandma. He did. He just played and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I got hurt. We just sat there and we just, meditation can take on many different forms. It doesn't have to be, that true yoga studio type meditation.
Yeah, well, I tried yoga. It's not for me. It's not for me.
Yeah, you gotta find what works for you. We're all different. We all have our own ways of doing things and healing from them. Find what works. And if you, like I said earlier, if you keep trying, if that's not it, my eldest son ended up, when he came out of his addiction of alcohol, he went into exercising. He just loved being in the gym. He created his own home gym. That worked for him. That and they say that you trade one addiction for another. You just hope that you find a good positive addiction, but don't take it too far.
Well, that's what people were saying to me when I was going to the gym, because obviously I was going to the gym 3 times a week, and and obviously I was streaming it live as well. I don't know if you saw any of them or anything like that, but obviously they saw the passion and the commitment in my face, because I had all this shit going on in my life, but when I'm in the gym, I'm in the zone, and all that just goes out the window.
Yes.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I do need to think about going back. I've not been in ages.
There you go. Whatever works for you,
Whatever works for me, yeah. Transformation. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
How does manifesting that transformation feel now compared to all that shit you went through?
I wouldn't have it any other way, Adam.
Exactly.
I would not have it any other way. And I would go through to be at this point in my life. And I'll be honest, it's not perfect. It's not great. It's not where I want to be, but it's not there.
Yeah.
Okay. But I would go through all that shit again and then some to have the knowledge and the experience and the choices that I have available to me now that I didn't back then. I would do it all. And I've been asked that, I would do it all over again. Absolutely. It's like going through AA. Okay. That some of those, they truly are life lessons that you're learning. Okay. Yeah. And I had said when I went through AA, why is this not being taught to our children in school? We could alter it for them in school, but these are life lessons that we were never taught.
No.
So yeah, I would, to be able to be where I am today, I'd do it all over again. I love that the woman.
And this is just my perspective on this. And people in the comments, please, obviously question if you think I'm wrong. Because I know there's people out there that are totally religious. Fair enough. Okay. I'm not. I'm totally against religion. And all you have to do for me to show you I'm not religious is come to church with me. Come to church with me, because me going into a church, no problem. But as soon as that music starts, I laugh. Obviously, it was our son's first birthday and christening on Sunday, and people there who knew me, they knew I was struggling to hold it together. I was struggling. And I couldn't just walk out. I couldn't. I had to stay there. But I think why it's not being taught in schools is because they're shoving religion down us. And then when you go to AA, it mentions the word God. And then suddenly you think, well, they're just a bunch of religious drunks. And you know what? That's exactly was my view until I actually went to AA. That was my view. But as soon as I went to AA, my mind completely shifted. And I've been going since April.
I think nowadays, anyway, at least when I went through AA, it was a higher power, whatever you believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever your religion is, AA did not, at least here in the States where I went, it wasn't that it has to be God or the Catholic God or the Hindu God or the Muslim God. I mean, it was your higher power. Whatever. My one AA group meeting leader had said, I don't care if you believe in that coffee pot over there. Believe in something greater than yourself.
Yes.
That coffee pot makes coffee, and right now that is your best friend. So believe it till you find something else, and then you're not committed to staying with whatever that higher power is. Yeah. You're not committed. It's not written in stone. This isn't the 10 Commandments. It's your life. You get to choose how you want to live it. And hopefully there's enough people out there and through, what you do and what I do, that we can convince them or at least show them that living on the brighter, better side is so much better than the dark side. So much better. It's that transformation. I mean, they can be little, transformations don't have to be, life altering. They are, and there are some, but they can be little ones. They can be day-to-day transformations. It's how you choose to wake up in the morning and go, I'm open today to the possibility of a miracle or this, or whatever this and that is. You choose that. That's manifesting your life. That's manifesting your transformation. Waking up every morning and saying, I choose to create this space of possibility in my life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where it comes from.
Life is how you create it. And you know what? We're always creating this character within ourselves as well. Because what I've learned from AA is what you think is what you say, and what you say is how you behave.
Yes.
That's the character you're creating.
That's it.
Whether it's positive or negative. Your choice.
That's it.
Your choice. Yeah. Any final words?
Well, like I said, there are 10 with the bonus one being love, but if you're in that type of situation, whether it's alcohol, drugs, abuse, suicide thoughts, you're not alone. First and foremost, you are not alone. And I cannot stress that enough. You are not alone. Yeah. And that's one of the things that you and I went through it. We thought we were the only one experiencing any of what we went through. And until we told our stories and people said, oh, you know what? I went through something very similar. Oh my gosh, you did that. I had this happen. Share your story.
Yeah.
It not only helps the next person, it helps your own healing. It helps your own to be able to get it out, to be able to take all those emotions and feelings and traumas and put it out there. Let the universe have it, or whatever your religion believes. Give it to God. How many times do we learn that in AA? Give it to God. Give it to God.
God can be exactly what you want.
Exactly.
See, my higher power is the meetings.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, anyway, since we're talking about subconscious mind,
Yes.
do you know what? This is what I love about these podcasts, because then what we talk about on that night, we're actually talking about next week's topic.
Ah.
Because next week it's a panel. We've got expanding your consciousness and the power of reprogramming your subconscious mind. So if anyone else wants to join that, you're more than welcome to. Same time next week.
I'll leave that subject up to the experts. I know it worked for me, but there are plenty of other people out there that are way more experienced.
I'm seeing a debate, probably. I'm seeing a debate.
Maybe I'll join you next week.
Let me know. Let me know.
I will.
So, but yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Christine. You're an absolute legend as usual. And
thank you, Adam. I'm kind of glad we got out a little one-on-one, and I know you and I are meeting separately on Sunday, and I am very much looking forward to that.
Hang on a minute. I need to check that. Is it Sunday?
I believe it is Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, the 1st.
The 1st?
I think so, yeah. If we need to reschedule, honey, that's fine. It is a holiday weekend over here.
Yes, 7 p.m. my time. 7 p.m. my time. No, don't worry. I'll be there.
Okay. All right.
You know, I actually forgot about it, even though it's in my diary. Oh, here we go. Stephen, who's in the comments, he's actually said that he wants to be on next week. So there you go.
Oh, awesome. I guess I'll come on. You know, so maybe I'll learn something.
Right, so I will see you all same time, same place next week, and obviously Nick, Nancy, and Ashley will be back. So
right, sounds good. Thank you, Adam. I love you, honey. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I'll see you all later. Get this shared, please.